Hello and welcome to writing an equation in slope-intercept form. So, say you are given information and you want to figure out what the equation is, given a line or some parts of the information like the slope and the y-intercept. Can you write an equation given that information? Well, we already know slope-intercept form, that y equals mx plus b. We already know that m is the slope, and we know that b is the y-intercept. So, say they tell you slope is -7 and the y-intercept is a half. Could you tell me what the equation is for the line that exists at a steepness of -7, which is really steep, downhill, and it goes through the y-axis at a half? Well, yeah, I know that this equation, I can plug in these values into the right spots and I will get the equation for that specific line. So here's my equation. I know the equation works as y equals m, but instead of m, I'm going to put my slope. And they gave me the slope as -7. And then I have my x, and I add my y-intercept, which is a +1/2. So there is my equation. Okay. This line will have a y-intercept of 1/2. So on the y-axis, you'll go to 1/2, and it'll have a steepness of -7. Number 2, same idea. They tell me my slope is -1. So when I think of it, it's -1 times x plus my y-intercept, which is 5. Now, we usually don't see it as y equals -1x plus 5. We usually just see y equals -x plus 5. And we don't need that coefficient of a 1. We can basically just call it a -x. Number 3, slope is 0. So we know what a slope of 0 looks like. It's going to look like this. And it crosses through the y-axis at -8. So what does that equation look like? Well, if you think about, again, the rule, so it's y equals, my slope is 0 times x plus a -8. Or what we can simplify this to is, well, y is 0 x's. So if I don't have any x's, I can just say no x's. So I can actually simplify this down to y equals, and I don't need plus a negative, I can just say -8. So y equals -8. If you need a question, write it down now. Think about what you're stuck on and what is confusing. Because now we're going to move into, hey, look, here's a graph on a line. Here's a line on a coordinate plane. What is the equation of this line? Well, I can see it looks like it seems to go through a point right there. And no, not there. Here it looks like it goes through a point, and here. So I like to usually darken in points that I can obviously see and I know the coordinates for. I know that this is at 0, -2. I know that this is at 2, +1. I know the coordinates for it. So now that I have this, well, the question is, do I know the slope of this? What is the slope? Well, I have a point here and I have a point here, so can I figure out the rise over the run? Well, it looks like the rise is 1 spot, 2 spots, 3 spots. So my rise is 3 and my run is 1, 2. Now I also want to double check, does this have a positive slope? Yes, it does. And my rise is 3 and my run is 2. So there's my slope. The other thing I need in order to put it in slope-intercept form is I need to know my y-intercept. Do I know where this line crosses my y-axis? Yes, it's right here, and that is at -2, when the y value is -2. So now I have all this information. I can write an equation for number 4. The equation would be y equals m, which is 3/2 x, and I have a negative y-intercept, so I could write plus a -2, or I can simplify it down to -2. There is my equation for this graph. It has a y-intercept of -2, it has a slope of 3/2, and we do want to remember that slope is equal to the rise over the run. So when you have a picture of a line, you're going to have to use the rise over the run to count out the slope. Number 5, same idea as 4. I want to find points that I am already aware of. I know what they are. looking at this, I see that it definitely crosses through this point. It definitely crosses through this point. And it looks like it definitely crosses through that point. So, what do I know? If you'd like to start with the slope again, I know my slope is, let's see, what's my rise over my run? Well, I could go from this point to this point by doing up 1, up 2, and up 3. So that was a rise of 3. But from there, I'm going back 1. So that would be a negative 1. So I'm getting that the slope is 3 over negative 1. I could also count it out here, and I could say it's down 1, down 2, down 3, down being a negative, and then right 1, which is a positive, so I could think of it as also negative 3 over 1. Either way, 3 over negative 1 or negative 3 over 1, what would be my slope? My slope is equal to negative 3. That's my slope. Let's figure out the y-intercept. So where is my red line crossing my y-axis? Well, it appears to be at this point. So what's the y value when it crosses? Well, here's my origin. That's 1, that's 2. So my y-intercept is 2. So again, I'm going to take these pieces of information, put it into my slope-intercept form, and then I will have my equation for this line. So for number 5, I get y equals, my slope is 3. It's negative 3. And just looking at the graph, I can tell it's negative slope. So it's negative 3x, and then what am I adding on the end? My y-intercept, which is where it crosses the y-axis, so plus 2. And there is my equation for number 5. So you can figure out the equation, slope-intercept form, as long as you know the slope and you know the y-intercept, you can plug it in and figure out the equation of the line that is drawn on the coordinate plane. Bye.